24 hours have passed after the new patch came through, and we already have some pretty solid stats thanks to HS Replay Premium, so if you still haven't gotten yourself that subscription, I think it's one of the best things you could be paying money for. You could use the download link from my description if you wanna support me a little in the process, but now let's see what are the best performing decks after 24 hours after the new patch came through. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, all of that good stuff, and don't forget you can hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Now, let's check out the decks. The first deck on the list is actually going to be Protoss Rogue, and I have been seeing plenty of iterations of Protoss Rogues against me, and the thing they have in common is they're all very hard to beat. Right now, this is one of the best performing variants with not very high sample size, but if we combine all the different iterations of Protoss Rogue out there, it definitely is getting some pretty solid stats as well as sample size and very good win rate, so it's definitely nothing to scoff at. Nothing too crazy out of the ordinary in this one. We're still running all of the nerfed cards actually. This iteration is only running the High Templars. I have been seeing plenty of variants running both the Templars nowadays. We can see some similar variants, like look at this Double Dark Templar with Blink. I'm not sure these stats are after the patch. It says they are, but these were not registering when I was looking through the decks, I think. But yeah, a lot of variants are actually running Dark Templars as well, so that's something to think about. Other than that, they are running some of the new cards with the Harbinger of the Blighted, and also the Twisted Web Weaver gives them a lot of card draw if you leave it long enough. The Web of Deception gives them a lot of early game tempo. They started running the metal detectors again so they can do shenanigans a bit quicker. And now, even with the 8 mana Artanis, even with the 5 mana Chrono, they're still very worth it. All around the deck is pretty scary to face, and it can pack a very mean punch. It is very tempo heavy, and around turn 6, turn 7, they can kick in your teeth with a bunch of Templars, so definitely not very fun facing. Matchup-wise, obviously we don't have matchups just yet, so let's move down to the mulligans and see what people have been holding on to. Going first, here's what the stats are. You're gonna try to hold on to your Harbinger of the Blighted. If you get that, you could also hold on to Shadow Step, or maybe even Web of Deceptions with a prep. That might be pretty broken too. Dig for Treasure is something people hold on to a lot. The Twisted Web Weaver is a pretty good turn 1. Metal Detector is still pretty solid, and some people even keep Chrono Boost still, but I'd assume that's only happening if you have the prep. As for on the coin, again, you want to be holding on to the Harbinger, the Web, the Shadow, prep. Dig for Treasure, basically same stuff. Photon Cannon might also make the keep here. And something to think about is if you only use one Photon Cannon and maybe your Artanis, you're not going to be able to do shenanigans with Sonya, whereas if you only use both Photon Cannons or just Artanis himself, you will be able to actually do shenanigans with Sonya with the help of the Sandbox Scoundrel. You might actually want to check out my detailed guide about Protoss Rogue from not too long ago if you really want to understand the Sonya combo. I do my best to explain the deck over there. For other good Rogue decks, like I said, we have several different iterations of Protoss Rogue at the top. Bounce Rogue is also something to look out for apparently, and I have been seeing this bullshit Rogue back on the menu again with the Maulers, with the Ethereal Oracles, with the Incendious, and with the Playhouse Giants, so not very amazing getting that blast from the past again. It's not that great so far, but might be a skill issue. On the number 2 spot, Sholdrassil Pally is actually getting a lot of popularity, and for good reason. It's sitting around 58% with over 10,000 games for the last 24 hours, which is kind of absurd. But yeah, this Tree Paladin, one might call it, is actually doing quite well. It's curving out a lot better than Imbue Pally ever did, and you do have Sholdrassil at the end. With the help of Ursol, that's gonna be a lot of extra bullshit from nowhere. And it keeps on giving, basically. It's gonna keep on giving you that 5 damage AoE, that +5/+5, the return to player's deck. It's really broken, actually. As long as you make enough room for all of those bullshits to be coming back to your hand, you should be having a very good time with this piece of god-awful deck. You could actually do a lot of extra stuff with the help of some Snapper Lionessa as well. You get to return the 5 damage AoE for the enemies stuff. You could get the +5/+5 twice that way. It's actually kind of broken, and you still have things like Home Manager, things like Holy Glow Stick, the Divine Brew, this thing nowadays. Very unpleasant to actually face. Matchup-wise, it might actually have enough stats. As you see, Protoss Rogue is actually keeping it at bay, and apparently Protoss Mage and Zerg Token Hunter are also not its friend, but the rest is very good for you, so you shouldn't be having a problem climbing with this one. And as for the mulligan, here's what people have been looking for. Going first, and second for that matter, you're going to be looking for the weapon. Red Scale Dragon Tamer is decent, Righteous Protector, Moonstone Mauler apparently, the Grillmaster, maybe even the Urson Mole. And on the coin, again, plenty of the same stuff, but some people even hold on to straight up the Ursol, which sounds pretty dumb if you ask me. Like, in the end of the day, that's why we have the weapon, so why would we keep such a thing? I don't know. For other good Pally decks, I actually did try Menagerie Pally, which is shown as the best performer, but with smaller sample size. The deck felt kind of cool. It does abuse the Mother Duck with the help of Crusader Aura. That can be actually pretty sick. It's also running the Jug, which a lot of decks seem to be doing nowadays. It's kind of cool, it's pretty quick, but I don't know, for my meta it wasn't doing all that it's cracked up to be. So there's that, but Imbue Pally still pretty dog water. On the number 3 spot, Zarimi Priest was actually super strong, and this is a lot more expensive variant of Zarimi Priest that's actually abusing Narrowlex to very good use. You have plenty of not so expensive dragons too, with things like Gift Wrapped Whelp, with Ship's Chirurgeon. The new Petal Peddler is actually kind of cool, but the main gist of this one is actually you wait around turn 7, turn 8, and you drop Narrowlex into Essera, which gives you 3 mana back for only 1 mana, and then you finish off with a couple of Spawn Drakes for a bunch of extra damage, or if that's not enough, you could even actually just play Zarimi and get an extra turn like that, which is kind of insane. You have a good amount of removal with things like Fly Off the Shelves, with Shadow Word Druid, which kind of felt questionable at best, by the way. You might want to swap this out for something better. Repackage felt pretty strong against a lot of opponents. And you also have things like Ancient of Yore here to draw a little bit more. Scale Replica helps you with the draw, giving you one of the cheap ones and one of the expensive ones. And I also actually played the variant with these dudes, Illusory Green Wings, and they actually felt real good, if you ask me. But for now, the stats are not as hot for them, it seems. Or are they? Maybe they just don't have enough sample size. Yeah, here's one that's actually doing pretty good, something along these lines. And these really felt nice because you could actually do some broken things like picking the Illusory and then picking Bird Watching, and that makes the cards into 6/6s, which was kind of huge. All around, the deck is pretty solid, was pretty fun to play with, not so fun to face, so not the bestest of meta decks to be facing for sure, but still pretty strong if you want to be playing something priest-like. For the mulligan, here's what we have going first. You want to be curving off with the good early game dragons. Card draw ain't bad, bird watching is okay, if you already have a 1-drop power word shield might be okay, and depending on the matchup, Fly Off the Shelves might also be good. As for on the coin, again, much of the same stuff, but here I'd assume Fly Off the Shelves might even make more sense, even though the win rate is lower, the kept rate is higher, so there's that. For other priest decks, we also see Fishing Priest quite high, but I have a feeling this deck got this high win rate with this small sample size just because it was catching a lot of unrefined decks off guard in the early hours of the new meta. I might be wrong, you might give it a try if you want to. It's still a pretty solid deck, but Zarimi feels a lot more popular and solid to me. And about Imbue Priest, so far it's still under the radar, and probably for good reason. On the number 4 spot, if we gotta be completely honest, I could have included Zerg Egg Hunter, the one I showed you on the latest video. You probably already seen it. And Zerg Egg Hunter is still doing as strong as ever. Even though the nerf did hit it quite hard, it's still one of the best fast decks you could be picking up. But I decided to give you something new in this one instead, with Menagerie Hunter of all things. It seems like a lot of Menagerie decks are out there right now, actually. And this one is Hand Buff Menagerie, I think it's called. Is it actually Menagerie? Doesn't look too Menagerie to me. It's not running the Jug or anything like that, so maybe it's not Menagerie. This one looks to be straight up Hand Buff Hunter instead. Either way, it is what it is. We're still running things like Char, like Reserved Spot. We have Bird Watching, so you can fish out some important minions, and the important minions here would be the mythical Rune Bear. And this thing has Taunt, Battle Cry. If this has 4 or more attacks, summon a copy of this. So this can be super broken. Like, imagine doing a turn 2 coin reserve spot. This allows you to do a turn 3 1 mana 7/8, which as we remember from not too long ago is definitely not very bad. We have a lot of interesting new inclusions in here as well. Things like Shepherd's Crook, Things like Spiritbound, Grace of the Great Wolf, that kind of stuff. And the Zillion here has the Power module plus the Twin module, so that can also be super solid. Like imagine plopping a super fast Zilly nice and early. And for those who still don't get it, Ranger Gilly is only in here because he allows you to run all of the warrior cards. So I know nobody wants to craft Gilly, he's a horrible card, but he is a necessary evil if you want to be running the bullshit warrior cards like Char and Reserve Spot or Couple Muscle. So yeah, you do need Gilly. No, you cannot replace Gilly. For the mulligan, here's what we have as stats. Birdwatching, Tracking, Mythical, Room Bear is an okay keep, only if you don't have birdwatching already, I guess. Fetch is also fine, again if you don't have birdwatching. Obviously you're gonna have to think about which card you want to be keeping depending on your situation, so don't just blindly follow keep all of these 5 cards every time kind of deal. No, you gotta actually know what you're looking for and why you're looking for it. If you already have a good minion or a way to fish it out, Couple Muscle can also be great. The Crook ain't too bad. Parrot Sanctuary might be interesting, that kind of stuff. And on the coin, again, basically same stuff. Reserve Spot becomes even more MVP because you can coin it out as soon as turn 2 and follow up with an amazing minion on turn 3. For other good Hunter decks, like I said, Zerg Token Hunter is absolutely broken, but this is the one I showed you. Small sample size, big win rate, but here we have big win rate and big sample size, so if you had Zerg Egg Hunter, you can still keep on playing with very good success with it. Imbue Hunter apparently not as cracked up to be as initially I thought. It really felt strong in the first few hours of the meta, but it's not as amazing. I'm assuming basically because everybody started picking Menagerie decks, which are super quick. And on the last spot we have another super quick deck, Menagerie Death Knight of all things. Kind of interesting how strong Menagerie Drug turns out to be, but then again, why wouldn't it be? It's after all, it's a 5 mana 12/12, so how bad could that really be? It's a little bit expensive sitting at 5 mana, but not for what it could be doing. And basically, a lot of decks are starting to really see the benefit this card could be giving, and Death Knight also is coming to the party. You can see plenty of cheap tribal cards like Firefly, a Monstrous Mosquito is a beast, Murmur is an undead, and a Murloc. We're not running Wisps in this, so one, I've noticed a lot of Menagerie decks started running things like Wisps, but since Wisp is an undead, you're Death Knight after all, you have plenty of other undeads in the deck, so it's not exactly super worth. The Infested Breath is still solid with the Sanguine, with the Hideous Husk, and you also have things like Malignant Horror, which is another undead. You get the copy at the end of your turn, so imagine sticking this thing and buffing it with the Jug. After that, you're gonna be summoning 5/7s like that, which is huge. Mulligan wise, here's what we have going first. You basically are trying to be curving out as best as you could with 1 or 2 good 1-drops, with a Creature of Madness or a Dreadhound on 2. Observer of Mysteries is actually a demon, so that's pretty cool. Show Fallen is an undead and also gives you a good amount of card draw, so that kind of stuff. And on the coin, again, curving is the name of the game, so mulligan accordingly. For other good Death Knight decks, what other good Death Knight decks? We don't have any stats for anything good other than this, so it's a little bit super low sample size, very good win rate, but these are the stats so far. Take this with a grain of salt, try it if you have the cards, doesn't seem to be very expensive at all, so wouldn't break the bank for you guys to try it, but don't craft too much for it if you don't have it yet. For the classes we haven't mentioned, starting off with Demon Hunter, and Crewmate Demon Hunter actually kind of could have made it into this list. Technically it does have better sample size and stats than the Death Knight, but I did face this deck and didn't feel that amazing. It's a little bit on the fast side, it can do some shenanigans with the Ravenous Fell Hunter and Deirdre, but I don't know. I'd rather let it cook a little bit more. After all, it's not a very cheap deck to just pick up. It's not very expensive either, if we gotta be completely honest, but it definitely has some plenty niche cards. For Druids, I did actually use Imbue Druid to hit Legend this season, but it's a tier 2 deck at best. It's still a lot better than what it used to be, but not by much. It doesn't have very good return on board mechanics, it doesn't have too much removal, so play it at your own risk. It was definitely fun, but not as broken as some of the other decks out there. For Mage, as you can see so far, the class is not really doing all that well. The nerf to the Protoss cards definitely has been a fat hit for the class, and the meta is not as favorable for it anymore, I think. So play it with caution. For shamans, we don't have anything shaman-like so far, so moving on to the next one. Warlock is also actually under the radar. I do believe Location Warlock is still strong, by the way, don't quote me on that one, but if I were you and I already had Location Warlock, I would give it a go if I'm wondering what to play. I have seen some streamers still do well with it in Top Legends, so give it a try and see how that go. I don't think it actually changed any of the cards either, so it might be worth giving it a chexicle. And for Warrior, we actually do have Terran Warrior with stats, but the win rate is just not amazing, so not the most amazing thing to be spending dust on. So that's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. Again, go straight up crafting cards or anything just because you saw all of these decks had good win rates. It's a little bit too early to be crafting if you're low on dust, so if that's the case, try and save as much as you can. Give the meta a few more days. I will be giving you an updated top 5 in a day or two, so be on the lookout for that one. But until then, I hope this meta report helps you hit Easy Legend in Hearthstone. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe, and don't forget you can hire me for some Hearthstone coaching. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.